Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today I'm going to show you how to set up, play and review the game Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. This is a game that I've had since July. It is now October. I have been playing it and I'm very sorry there's been a technical issue why I haven't actually had a chance to actually get this game up and running and showing you guys basically for the channel. It has been demonstrated a lot in person. You may have seen a number of pictures as well on Instagram. Please check that all out on the description. Please also make sure that you check out the comments. I always reply quickly. That's all on YouTube. In addition to that, I want to tell you all about this game and how it compares to original Terraforming Mars. It's a bit of a setup to do, so I'll just do that now. You're going to get ocean tiles. You're going to place them out here. There are 9. And also, please check out, there's now Patreon as well. Please ensure that you give what you can. You can provide that as well. So these all have different values. Sometimes you can get a card. Sometimes you can get yourself various things. You can get some mega credits and some plants. So there's various things you can be doing in this game. I'm now going to set it up and then show you how to play this game. I'm also going to give you my opinion on the review of this game, the various player counts I've been playing it at. I do like to bring videos to you as soon as possible, but I also want to make sure that's a fair and balanced opinion, having played it a number of times and at different player counts. Otherwise, I feel that you might rush out, you might buy it, you might say, oh, someone's got it, they want to play it. And actually, you might want to know what is the preferred player count. You will find that out in this video. So, you've also going to get some player aids. Now, if there's just 2 of you, you can have one on either side. I'll leave these up to one side as well, so let's leave this down here for the time being. Tell you what, let's leave it out there, and I'll point it out as we get to it. So, this is a slightly smaller box, as you can see, and you have all the rules inside here too. I like to talk about components at the end. I know lots of people do, but I must admit, as I'm setting up, as a little bit of setup to do, I will be talking about things as I come across them. I'm going to leave these off to one side. These are forest tokens, which you might discover. You can choose whichever colour you want. I thought, like the first game I played it with, I would play red because it's Mars and it's the red planet, as it's known. So you're going to take these cubes out. What I will tell you now is, as per usual, always put one back in the cube so you can tell which bag is yours. In this instance, though, you want to put back around 5. And that is because you may well not need them throughout the game. That's particularly true as playing as a 2 and a 3. I'll talk about solo play in a completely other video as well, to be honest. If you need a separate one, they're going to go here, but all of them are going to start on these positions. As I said, I was going to give you that review at the end, but I'm going to tell you now that the components are nice. We'll talk about it in a bit more time as well, but it's not a recessed board. Like Terraforming Mars, it's not recessed, at least original. You've got some different colour cubes, so there's a slight difference here. They're not shiny. I did love the original cubes. These got a lovely brown tinge to them there. And some people didn't like these metallic cubes. They thought that was a poor production quality. Instead of using white cubes, you're using these clear cubes. You're going to minus 30 here, 0% there for oxygen, and of course we have those ocean tiles. You have these tokens here. If you've played a game, another sci-fi game such as Race to the Galaxy, you might be aware of playing simultaneous action selection. So you've got various things here. By the way, these do not do anything, these edge of the boards, and these go along here. Now, you'll see I will never actually come across these things because you do not need them in the game. I actually stopped doing it after one turn, but you'll see what they do in a moment. So we have these cards, these cubes here. They represent one value for whatever it is you're using it for, one per a resource. Let's just get a few of these out. These are the silver ones. These are worth 5 of whatever it is that you're using it for. You have gold. They are worth 10 of, again, whatever you want it to be. Again, please hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't already. Please hit the notification bell so you of course know when of course other videos are coming along. I'm doing a video every day since May and it's now of course October. And I'm trying to bring it to you as soon as possible. I'm going to shunt some things around to make sure it comes out. These foam things you don't necessarily need. If you play games, as I mentioned in the unboxing video, you can check that on the playlist as well for unboxings and stuff like that. It's a bit like Aeon's End Legacy, having that a spare bit there. So let's go to the back of it first. You're going to pick a corporation. There are different values on these things. And sometimes you have these regular ones, and sometimes, as I turn them upside down, because I play with them already, you have star ones, these tiny little value there. If you want to play a star one, by all means play with them. They're the easy ones to play with. I'm going to grab a star one, and I know a few people have played with this one, Ecoline. I'm going to play with it next time. Interplanetary cinematics. So we'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to put these back, but everyone's going to take one of them. You're also going to be taking these cards. These are your phase cards. So per player, you're going to take one each of these type. These are the various things you can be doing in a round. A round, it can be as many rounds as it takes to complete the game, and the game ends when all the ocean tiles are flipped and the temperature reaches 8 degrees, which at the time of this original game being designed, the original Terraforming Mars, that was a global temperature on average. And right, so you have various things you can be doing. You can be choosing to play a green card. I'll show you what that means in a moment. You could do various other things as well, various different coloured cards. If you're the person who plays this card, you get a bonus. You can play something cheaper. Let's grab those other cards out as well. So these are your project cards, okay? So if you have a look at these, I've put these one way and one another way because I like to play through them in order. As I said, I'm very methodical. It's nice to try all the different cards. I will, of course, be telling you what I think of the art as well in due course. So we're going to move this up here. So before I finish setting up, let's sort out my particular project. So 46, so remember 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 40. That goes there. That is my currency, my mega credit. It's my MC. Remember we have a 5, and remember we have a 1. That's 46. Okay, remember everything else starts on 1. You start with 46 mega credits. When you play a building card, the brown one, you pay 2 MC less for it. It always says less. It should say fewer. Now, in this instance, you also have this other one as well. When you play a symbol, which this is on it, you pay 2 MC less for it as well. So now what we're going to be doing is you're going to take some starting cards. Now those starting cards will vary, but I deliberately set it up, and they're always these, they are always going to be the green cards, which I'll talk about in a moment. So as you can see, there's a huge amount of cards. You will not go through all of these cards in the game, and as you discard cards, you are going to be discarding them face down. But here are those cards that I had pre-sorted. I always like to sort out ready for the next game. You are always going to pick a card with a star if you want to play your first time playing the game, or with first time players. If you played Terraforming Mars before, I would probably still stick with this. So you are going to be taking some of these cards, and right, I'll show you how that works. Now there are some similarities to the original Terraforming Mars, and there is a little quick start guide as well. Strangely enough, it can be quite distracting knowing that there are different things as well. So as I said, let's start with grabbing various bits and bobs, and let me explain to you how exactly that works. So initially for your first game, what you're going to be doing is everyone's going to pick 4 of these cards. They're going to be shuffled, and you're going to have these 4 cards. So right now I've got things to work towards. I've got sponsors, trading posts, industrial farming, and import of advanced GHG. Now all I'm thinking about right now is what I can combo with. Well, I have that building symbol. That building symbol's there, so that's probably what I want to play first. So I'm going to bear that in mind. I'm going to put that to the top of my deck. Everyone's going to have their own thing, and then this is what we're talking about this. I'll talk about the other ones in a moment, but let's just say I want to pick this. So everyone's going to pick a phase they want to play and reveal it. Often people will play that because they've only got green cards, say, initially. And you're going to play out your card. You're going to pay the cost, which is 19, but I can pay it cheaper, which is 2, so I'm paying 17. So I'm going to pay back 20, taking the 3, okay? And there's that bit done. That's the planning step, is picking what card you want to play. Because I am playing as development card, I pay 3 less for it, so I get another 3 back, so take 5 and take 2 back. Everyone else does exactly the same thing as me. They do the development phase. If anyone reveals any other cards as well, then we do the next phase. Again, you don't need these things, but the next phase you do would be construction. So if anyone had a construction card, we would follow suit. And you'd probably want to check your other cards just to confirm what that means. Each player may play a blue or a red card. As you can see at the very beginning of the game, you don't have any of those cards. So that's the issue. You basically are always going to be playing development cards. Having said that, knowing everyone's only got green cards, you might want to play a different card. You might have an action card, which again you wouldn't have initially. You can activate an action, but as you can see, actions are normally on those blue cards, and we don't have any presently. Instead, you might want to do production. You can gain stuff. So if you have a certain corporation that produces early on, you're gaining heat, you're gaining plants, and you're drawing cards to their production. What does that do? I'll get onto it. But also you're going to increase your terror rating. One thing I forgot to not do is everyone starts on 5. So imagine someone had 2 and you're producing, well, you're producing 2 plants. Why is that useful? Well, if you happen to play an action card, it means that as soon as you have 8 plants, let's just say, yeah, you've reached 10, then what's going to happen is you immediately have to go down, so spending 8, and you're able to plant a tree, which increases this. That goes up to there because you want more oxygen. This goes up as well, and you're going to get yourself a forest token, and that's worth 1 point at the end of the game. Aside from that, other things can give other things. You can get fuel, and with some of these corporations like Helios, you could spend fuel as money, amongst other things. I happened to do it last game. I didn't win. I got a score of 30. Someone else got a score of 31, and somebody else got a score of 31. So it's very, very close. So I've got this thing now. Also, I've got this. During the production phase, that's this bit down here, this produces 1 MC and 2 plants. So in this instance, I do have 2 plants, and I'm producing myself 1 money. So that's quite interesting. So I've got something going on here, a bit of an engine builder going along. So once you've played a card, what's going to happen next is you're going to turn it over, and at the end of that phase, once everyone's played their cards relevant, you've got 4 cards left. You can only pick one of them cards, and once you've played it, you can do it, you can do the action, turn it over, take this card back, and then in your next round you've got 4 cards, and you're always going to play 4 cards, one of those 4, but of course it's not the card that you've just played. Again, the game continues, and it'll start escalating all the way around until obviously you're getting your money to buy stuff, to buy cards, do other things as well. You're going to start drawing more cards, so if you want to play and draw cards, you're playing research, everyone draws 2 cards and keeps one of those drawn card. As a bonus, if you happen to play this card, you draw an additional 3 cards and keep an additional 1 card. So you're drawing 5, keeping 2. So let's talk about that game. Pretty much a very swift overview, but I think that does go into the detail. As I've mentioned, you can see there's no real reason to keep these particular pieces. They do its job, but everyone's got those 5 cards. You'll start to recall what those things represent and being able to play them. But I think it's a very glossy rulebook. It's a nice linen finish, lovely plasticky feel, almost waxy, which isn't necessarily good, but it's fine. I love the artwork. It's lovely artwork on the cards, very nice. But there is a few niggles. One of the things is these do fit in the spaces, but only just. And at higher player counts, even as a 2, it's a bit tricky when someone else is next to it. If they're just, who's there, and it might be clear, but, you know, again, if it was recessed or something, they do get knocked a bit as well. So that to be bearing in mind. Aside from that, of course, you've got to keep an eye out to make sure things don't slide across. That has happened in games as well. Another thing is when you have your development cards and you turn them over, well, they do look different, to be honest, they do look different, but sometimes being aware, have I just played that card, have I picked that card up? I'm just wondering if they could almost have like different sides of the board, would be quite nice. Like I said, I like the artwork, I like the fact that it works, I haven't seen any typos or anything like that. Again, I really like the art, I love the variety of what you can do. You're generally not stuck, there's little downtime. We're only talking about maybe a minute or 2, if that. You could literally be already planning the phase for the next card in hand as well. There's very little, to be honest, that you're doing that's stopping somebody else. There's little interaction. I love the drafting in original Terraforming Mars. I'll only play it with drafting, so that is to be said. I have played numerous expansions, including the Hellas map, the Elysium, Elas one. I haven't played Prelude, I haven't played Turmoil, but I have played all the rest. Played Venus as well, and enjoy it. I gave it 7 out of 10, the original. I give this slightly higher, like a 7.5, 7.8. It is a long game as a 2, far too long. It's too long as a 2. It takes around a bit more than 2 hours, whereas this game, for example, as a 3, we're talking, including how to set up play, a bit more of a teach as well, and want to double check stuff. We're under 1 hour 50, under an hour 40, an hour 30, and that is, again, including setting it up as well. The reason it's faster is because 2 or more phases could well be discovered. So if everyone's playing a different phase, and like I said, sometimes you can predict that, or at least hope it works that way, you're able to actually get through the game much faster because more actions are being triggered. And again, as a 4, it's even faster, which is really great. Now, I haven't talked about the solo play, and I haven't talked about the co-op mode. That's going to come separately, and that's because I might well do a video of, obviously, a co-op game in action, because I don't know if it is actually going to be faster playing it co-op. Be very interesting, maybe there's a discussion element too, but it's nice to know that that's in there. I do like it's a nice smaller box, not the other one wasn't an issue whatsoever. I played at least 4 promos, like small asteroids and stuff like that, which is great. As for obviously where you want to stick certain cubes, well, I can't really see a specific bag maybe for these, but knowing you're always going to be playing at least with 1 coloured set of cubes, this makes sense. Nice, glossy pieces here. Most everything is covered off. There's little that's kind of missing. Again, you start with the starting deck. Of course, you can switch that out and play different things as well. And yeah, there's a nice variety. You're never stuck necessarily, but early doors that can occur. And I happened to get quite a nice roll going on before when I was playing. Aside from that, it's called Terraforming Mars, the card game. Yeah, Helios and Elysium, so you can play all these other ones as well. There's big box. I know people are selling their sort of original ones and getting that big box too. Yet to play the big box. I don't know if people are preferring it. Again, please let me know in the comments. And because you're probably Terraforming Mars fans, especially if you're watching this or maybe on the fence, I'm curious to know, obviously, if you've played this and what your thoughts on it are as well. I know this came to obviously USA first. In terms of sorting out these cards, what I tend to do is take these cards, put them like that, put the starting cards on top. So everyone's starting with green, and that's going in there. And then you're taking the cards I've already played, just again keep it nice and fresh, and place them this way around. So I'm guessing this extra space to the box is going to be for when you're playing with obviously any expansions and stuff like that, which may well come along. And then lastly, you're probably asking yourself, do you need this version of the game? Well, it's a lovely teaching game of the game. The fact there's little downtime, the fact that you're not waiting for somebody else to take their turn, because you've taken one turn, waiting for them to pass, take a next turn, that speeds it along nicely, and I think lots of people enjoyed it. Playing with drafting adds 45 to 50 minutes, and you're looking at maybe a 3 and a bit, 3.5, maybe 4 hour game potentially, depending on who you're playing with. So all of that does kind of really grind it quite significantly, and it's something that, of course, is something you definitely wouldn't be interested in, I imagine, playing at such a long time. And as with many games, including the smaller ticket to ride games like London, New York, even the Netherlands or Holland, as well as the hot zone versions of Pandemic, I'd actually quite like them. I was quite surprised. I didn't realise I could get, you know, that kind of itch into a game in, well, in the case of Ticket to Ride New York, into 80 seconds. But playing that game and playing Pandemic in the space of 10-15 minutes has been fantastic. So like I said, it does give you the differences in Terraforming Mars to get you up and started, but I must admit, you might realise that if you have played Terraforming Mars before, there's a little bit of kind of making sure that you don't just rush straight into it, because ultimately you might be missing out on something. So that has been Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, and once again, apologies for the delay in bringing that to you. That was not meant to be the case. There was an unforeseen error for getting it out, but by Stronghold Games, wonderful players, 60 minutes, 14 plus, yep, 60 minutes sounds great. Look forward to bringing you, of course, that solo play, ideally, hopefully, as well as the co-op mode. Again, the solo for the other one only took me 40 minutes. I'm looking forward to trying this out too, and of course, being immersed in the theme and going ahead with it. Hopefully it doesn't crunch you out too much, because there is crunchiness and that can take away from the theme, but ultimately it's a nice feeling game. Nice to know that you've got some biofuel reactors, so you're burning plants instead of making oxygen, and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. That's been Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. I keep the plastic on, again, just to keep the shelfware down. All the best. Bye for now.